Today I want to tell you a different kind of magic memory. This is not so much about how Magic the Gathering made my life better, but about how someone made my life better by letting me play Magic. You may have already figured out that the old man from my Old Man Remembers videos is my actual old man, my dad. He's 81 years old. He was born in 1934. That's important to keep in mind. He came from a very different world and a very different generation, and he ended up with a very different son than I think he expected. When I was a kid, I was different. In fact, I wanted to be different. Whenever I saw all the other kids going left, I insisted on going right. When people told me all boys loved sports, I was determined not only to never have anything to do with sports, but to let them know that I was a boy who hated sports. The problem is that this led to my dad and I having very little, if any, interests in common. He loved sports and music, and quite frankly, he was always very popular. I didn't like sports, and I wasn't popular. And that just made me hate sports all the more, because the people who hated me loved them. So why would I want anything to do with what the people who hated me loved? When I was in first grade, I played with My Little Ponies. After all, My Little Ponies were for girls, that's what everyone told me, so of course I insisted on them. I dove into them with fervor, collected them like I would later collect Magic cards. That's right, I was the original brony. Although, let me tell you, it was a lot harder back in 1985 to be a little boy who loved something perceived as girly, such as My Little Ponies, than it is today, and it is still not easy today. Not at all, not even a little. But back then, for my father, from 1934, to look at his 7-year-old son refusing sports and insisting on My Little Ponies, he didn't know what was going on. Other parents didn't want their kids around me. I felt like an infection. One of my only friend's parents did everything in their power to keep their kid away from me. And eventually, they outright forbade them from ever seeing me again. So I had no friends. That's pretty rough on a 7-year-old. When you are a child and beyond unpopular, when you are a child who is alone, no friends, the teachers say the problem is you, that somehow it's not the problem of the children bullying you, you start to think that something really might be different, really might be wrong with you. You feel like no one likes what you like, that you're the only one on the planet who reads these books or watches these shows or thinks the way you think. You think you're the freak. These are heavy, horrible thoughts for a child. But you know what? They are very, very common. So common, in fact, that when you finally do find a way to meet other people, to break through that ridiculous and forced homogeny of ideas and attitudes that define elementary school and junior high, you discover that you are not alone. And when I found Magic the Gathering, I found that I was not alone. No way! You like that show too? Oh my God, you get that joke! And knowing that you are not alone is often all someone in a bad situation needs to start working towards getting out of it. For me, later on, it was through Magic the Gathering. For others, it was through Dungeons and Dragons or video games or their Harry Potter Club or the Doctor Who convention or the Astronomy Club or the language exchange or whatever it is that you love, finding that other people love it too. Also means finding other people who do love you too. You are not alone, especially if you are young and trapped in school. You need to know that you are not alone and that there are people out there who you will meet, who will love you and will feel better about themselves for getting to know you. Yes, you. But what if I hadn't had Magic the Gathering? Now I'm getting back to my father. Born in 1934, and his son sits around playing with My Little Ponies and not playing sports. I know my father thought about forbidding me from playing with My Little Ponies. I know my father thought about insisting that I play baseball or football or something else, or read something else, or watch something else. He didn't like me sitting around with those cards. He didn't know what I was doing. But do you know what he did instead? He supported me 100%. He never once, not once, tried to take my dolls away from me. In fact, he drove me to the toy store every week and bought me probably way more than I needed. And video games when I got older, and Magic the Gathering when I was older still. And money was tight in our house. He was unemployed, out of work my whole life. My mother was a waitress. That's how she supported all of us. I remember hearing everyone else tell him that he was spoiling me. And I remember them saying that I didn't deserve it. One of his friends even said that he didn't want me around his kid. Yeah, that happened to me more than once, this whole I don't want your kid around my kid thing. And I do remember my father telling clearly everyone, so what if he spoils me? I'm his to spoil, and damn it, I deserve it. No. My father never learned to play Magic the Gathering, or Dungeons and Dragons, or Super Mario Brothers. He didn't sit down and play these games with me back then. Heck, just the other day, he admitted he still doesn't even know what Dungeons and Dragons is. He never went into the card store with me, but damned if he didn't take me there every Friday, because even if he didn't understand his son, he supported him unconditionally. He did not understand that world, but he trusted me. Now, I have a son now, and maybe he's not going to want to go to college or be interested in learning academic things. Maybe he'll be obsessed with sports instead. Maybe his problems won't be mine, and his interests won't be mine. But whatever it is he wants to do with himself in this world, I will support him. I will never forbid him from being with anything or anyone that he loves, because I trust him and I love him. And I learned that from my old man. I love you, Dad. And all of you too. I love all of you as well. We are now at 40,000 subscribers. I can't believe that the little boy who grew up alone is able to do this. And I can't tell you how much each and every one of you has really touched upon and improved upon my life. And I thank you for that. I really do. And that's what I do with these Magic memory videos. And Q&A. I will do the Q&A again. It's the 40K Q&A. Probably not 40 questions and answers. Maybe we'll try and do it a little differently than the previous two times, a little faster. But post your questions here in the video, and I will select some to answer in the next Q&A video. Yes, I am doing a booster box game. I'm actually going to go right on down to the store for launch right now and pick up the first booster box for the booster box game. How far will we get? Stay tuned. The further I get, the longer it'll take to post. And yes, absolutely, we'll be doing videos on Fate Reforged, new standard decks, more modern decks. Yes, we'll be talking about the modern ban in the next episode of Dies to Removal with the Mana Source and Wedge. In fact, we're filming that just in a day or two, depending upon schedules. It's all coming. Thank you all. Thank you all. Leave the questions.